Donald Trump facing a fierce backlash for his choice of words. This all began yesterday when the GOP nominee talked about how Hillary Clinton is given the chance to name picks to the Supreme Court could undermine gun owners' rights.
If she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, that will be a horrible day.
Democrats have been quick to pounce on those words. Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, a staunch gun control advocate from a state where emotions remain raw over the Sandy Hook school massacre, tweeting this: "Don't treat this as a political misstep. It's an assassination threat, seriously upping the possibility of a national tragedy and crisis." But on Hannity, Trump saying it was obvious to everyone he was referring to the power of the ballot box and not violence.
This is a political movement. This is a strong, powerful movement, the Second Amendment. You know, Hillary wants to take your guns away. She wants to leave you unprotected in your home. This is a tremendous political movement. The NRA, as you know, endorsed me. They're terrific people, Wayne and Chris and all of the people over there. And by the way, they've already, I just saw, they tweeted out, basically they agree 100% with what I said. And there can be no other interpretation.
At a later rally, Trump supporter Rudy Giuliani blaming the media for stirring up the controversy. Listen.
It proves that most of the press is in the tank for Hillary Clinton. They will buy any lie, any distortion, any spin that the Clintons put out, and they've been doing it since he was governor of Arkansas.
Meantime, this sharp rebuke from Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. Quote, this is simple. What Trump is saying is dangerous. A person seeking to be president of the United States should not suggest violence in any way. Geraldo, what did you see his words as?
Well, first, let me just say, as you know, I am very close to Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump. I love them both as men. This was a total brain fart by Donald Trump. For him to utter those words is absolutely
Okay, so were his words misconstrued, or did he mean some of these sharp attacks that Democrats are making it out to be?
Then he is potentially guilty of the federal crime of threatening a federal officer or a presidential candidate.
But he clearly went on Hannity last night.
In my heart, I do not believe that he meant to suggest that if you care about the Second Amendment, you'll do something awful to Hillary Clinton. But the mere fact that this grown-up man, who is the nominee of the major party, who could be the president of the United States, is so sloppy in his verbiage that he allows others to construe or misconstrue what he said as a threat of violence against a candidate is shameful. He should apologize. It's not enough to say, I didn't mean it, it's obvious I didn't mean it, or for Rudy to raise his voice and say, oh, they've been in the tank for the Clintons for 25. That's a bunch of BS.
Senator Susan Collins, a Republican from Maine, essentially says the same thing here. Listen.
I've been very critical of Donald Trump, but I actually don't think that's what he was saying. But it is an example of Donald Trump's looseness with language that can lead to interpretations such as the one put out by Secretary Clinton's camp.
Fair point, Melissa.
I mean, I think I would never imply that this could ever be a net positive, but what's really interesting about this is that as everybody covers it and talks about it again and again, they keep playing the clip where he says, if she gets to pick her judges, it's all over for the Second Amendment. And they keep reinforcing that point. And to the extent that that's a dog whistle to a lot of people who vote on that issue and care, that is getting replayed again and again and again. And it's true. I mean, that is one thing that really rallies people to the voting boxes, the idea that she will get the opportunity to pick probably 3 Supreme Court judges, and your life will be changed by that. And that keeps getting repeated.
All right, Kennedy, I'm dying to know where you're going with this.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it looks like when he says stuff like this, when he has these missteps that completely eclipse the news cycle for all the wrong reasons, it seems like he's trying to turf his own campaign.
Exactly.
I mean, I look at this and I wonder, what is going on here? What is going on in his brain? Because it wasn't particularly funny. It wasn't particularly well stated. If If he was talking about galvanizing that base, that is a base that is already galvanized, and they are angry and they will vote. And there is a way of saying, you guys are so powerful, you guys are so upset, you need to get out there and check my name at the ballot box. He didn't say that, and the fact that we're having this conversation means that there are several other layers here. Rudy Giuliani is right. The mainstream media is in the tank for Hillary Clinton. That's why you're not hearing about Omar Mateen's dad being at a rally right behind Hillary Clinton. That's why you're not hearing about Dr. Jill Stein. There's so many things. They are on her side. But here, he should not be saying the things that allow us to have this conversation for days and days and days.
So, Jillian, the left is using this as an opportunity to sharply attack Donald Trump. Elizabeth Warren tweeted this out. She said, quote, Donald Trump makes death threats because he's a pathetic coward who can't handle the fact that he's losing to a girl.
I enjoyed that tweet. I thought it was funny. She's trying to kind of dish it back to him a little bit, talking in sort of Trump speak right to him. What I'll say about this is I don't know what he meant. I'm not inside his head, but let's give him the benefit of a doubt for sake of argument right now. All right, he didn't mean to incite violence. When in our collective memory have we ever had this ongoing national dialogue about whether a potential President of the United States, the party's frontrunner in the general election, maybe potentially poses a danger to the republic? I mean, this kind of a conversation we're having is totally unprecedented.
But why would you brush that off? I mean, she said he's upset he's losing to a girl. If he said, I don't want to lose to a girl, everyone would go nuts. Why is Elizabeth Warren allowed to tweet? Why is he allowed to tweet?
Women, that's more important to you than
to a
he
girl.
potentially is
no,
threatening
I'm
to
saying,
assassinate
why is she allowed to say
Why is she allowed to say that? Because she's fighting back against the anti...
Why is she allowed to say that?
All right, let's get the man's perspective back in here, Geraldo.
This is not a close call. This was a stupid thing for him to say.
It was for sure a stupid thing to say.
And to suggest that the dog whistle of the Second Amendment trumps the fact that Trump is saying to assassinate her if she wins to prevent the Supreme Court.
It's just interesting. I started with the fact that it is for sure not a net positive.
I'll be Donald Trump.
All right, so let's go back to Jillian's point,
ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. America, I am so sorry that I even allowed this to be construed in that way. That's not what I meant.
He shouldn't have to qualify. He shouldn't have to apologize.
Because he should never have said it.
Surrogates going out there. He shouldn't say this stuff in the first place.
I think we all agree on that.
He shouldn't have doubled down on the Khan family. You know, there's so many.
We all agree on that. But, okay, so who's responsible for where this is now? Some have suggested it's the media that has run away with.
You can't.
But wait, hold on. Representative Eric Swalwell, Democrat, California, he actually said this. He said that the Secret Service should investigate Donald Trump after this threat.
The Secret Service tweeted out last night, Sandra, as you may be aware, I'm sure you are, that they are aware of his statement. So the Secret Service, charged with protecting candidates and office holders, is aware of the statement made by the damn candidate for the Republican Party. It's not like it was made by David Duke or some skinhead or some neo-Nazi or by Vladimir Putin. It was made by Donald Trump. It came out of his mouth, and it allows you talk about Mateen in the second row. What a great story. Here, this campaign of Hillary Clinton, and it's run with this clockwork precision, and they allow the total nut job, false faux president of Afghanistan who embraces the Taliban to sit 3 rows behind Hillary Clinton in the shot. That's a great story. It lasted for 10 minutes. Why? Because Donald Trump blew it all away with this absolute foot in his mouth.
Yeah, and it took the Clinton campaign days to disavow that story.
Well, also not to defend it because it's pretty atrocious, but that story is also, that's an optics problem. When we talk about these optics problems that all the candidates have, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Not going on national television and making threats against the other candidate, whether he meant it that way or not.
And the Secret Service is with him 24 hours a day.
This reminds me so much of
He's with the Secret Service. They are guarding him.
This is the Megan blood from her eyes and ears squared. It's 10 times worse, but it's that kind of thing where it's so obvious to everybody that he's made this statement, and what's in his mind, you wonder and you scratch your head, and it doesn't do a very good job in rebuttal.
So, Kennedy, sum this up for me. What is the political fallout from this? Where does this Where does this go next?
The political fallout is he has to be very careful. He doesn't have a lot of time, and he's got to make sure it doesn't reach critical mass with independent voters the way it is with some establishment Republicans. And the fact that we're having this conversation about the cons, about the Russian hackers, and now about this Second Amendment slip, it just, that leads people to believe, and it solidifies
Is this different, though, Melissa, than other controversial moments in the Trump campaign?
Only in the fact that it's closer to the day of voting. I mean, it is at least as stupid as everything else that's happened before this, and this keeps happening, and it's so frustrating, and it's so stupid, and it's really frustrating to people out there who want to support him for sure. And what makes it worse or bigger is the fact that we're getting closer, 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 and he should have learned the lesson by now, and he clearly hasn't.
I was with a guy, an investment banker last night. Polo, great restaurant, total Republican.
Wow. Hanging out with Wall Street?
He says to me, I announced to all of you that I was voting for Donald Trump. Now, how can I vote for him? Now, to vote for Donald Trump, you got to do it on the down low, on the QT, because it's embarrassing because of all of this kind of stuff.
She's a beatable candidate. My goodness,
totally
is she a beatable candidate?
Totally.
Well, my last check at Twitter, this is still the top conversation on social media right now. Everybody's deciding what exactly he meant there. All right, thank you.